Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to go to the Resource Exchange, which is where I like to buy a lot of supplies and fabric. It's a secondhand arts and crafts supply store with art supplies, fabric, trims, hardware supplies, curtains, homeware. It has a lot of stuff. Sometimes it has really cool furniture. I'm going because I'm running a bit low on my bulk buttons, which I use to make frames for little embroidery pieces. So I want to go and see if they have some more bulk buttons that I can stock up on, maybe some beads. I wouldn't mind checking out their fabric. Besides that, I don't really need to go too crazy, but I know some people have mentioned that it would be cool if I did a video showing you what it's like inside the Resource Exchange, so I figured I would do that. I'm working on some little pieces for October. Happy October, everyone. And yeah, I'm in the spirit. So I made a beaded bat, some beaded spiders. I've got an embroidered snake on this side, a little orange flowers, a black cat, working on a beaded black cat. I have like an owl drawn out, a harpy. I'm feeling pretty inspired and excited, and I have some moons. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll take you to the Resource Exchange, and then I have a feeling if I'm lucky, I'll find everything that I'm looking for there. I could also use some wire because I've been making my beaded floral sun catchers again, which I used to make like 5 years ago. And I was also making a lot of beaded earrings back then. These are like baby's breath beaded earrings. I mean, I still have to put them on the ear hook. So I've been working on these guys, and I could use more wire for all of that. So if I don't find wire at the Resource Exchange, I'll probably stop by the local Michael's, the Philadelphia Michael's craft store, which it's not my preference. I definitely used to go to Joann's first instead of Michael's because I feel like it's overpriced and I just don't like, I would just prefer to find everything secondhand. And the last thing is I do have to donate some stuff to the thrift store, just like a shirt that Lewis gave me to see if I'd like to embroider it, but it turned out to be primarily polyester and I kind of want to avoid that. So I figured I would donate that shirt. And I have some kids' clothes that I thrifted a while ago with the thought that I would embroider them for my shop, but I just haven't been inspired to work on children's clothes, so they've just been sitting around and I figure it would feel good to kind of clean that out. So I'm gonna redonate them. I might poke around the thrift store and see if there's any frames that are cool, maybe some beaded necklaces that I could take apart and use the beads for. I don't want to do a proper thrift store day because I have plans for a different video where I could go thrifting for fall and I have to replenish my clothing supply for repurposed and embroidered clothes for my Etsy shop. So that's a whole other video. But come with me on these errands and we'll see what I end up getting. I'll share that at the end of the video. Hopefully I will not spend that much money. I'm on a budget. Here we are. That's the Resource Exchange. I love the mural that's above the building. It is a climate activism mural. Anyways, let's go inside. I'm not sure if my video showcases this, but the Resource Exchange is organized really well into different sections. I tend to beeline for what I'm looking for. In this case, it was buttons, fabric, patterns, embroidery floss, frames, but they do have a lot more items like paints and high-end papers and tools and yeah, just lots of cool stuff. But like any thrifting day, I try not to have any expectations of what I'm gonna find. Like sometimes their bead section is really depleted and some days they have an incredible donation of beads or ribbons or exactly what I'm looking for. I think their fabric section was pretty good today. They had a really big stack of pre-cut yardage, which I always like to check out. And then the fabric that was on the rolls, you can ask the people at the counter to cut for you. Not a huge selection of embroidery floss today, but they did have some pieces. Okay, I've got a really heavy bag of stuff and I had to deal with some typical Philadelphia traffic nonsense, but I finally got home. Okay, I'm home. I decided to cut myself off because I did spend $100 at the resource exchange. I got a lot of stuff, so I decided not to go to the thrift store. Well, I went, I just donated the stuff that I wanted to donate, but I didn't go inside. I'm skipping Michael's too because I just don't feel like it, quite frankly, and I can't spend more money today. So I spent $100 and here's everything I got. Okay, first I have this fabric. Shoot, I don't think they kept the tags on, so I'm not totally sure how much individual pieces are. I think it's like 1.5 yards and I got it for $7. It's a linen. It feels really nice, very soft. Hi, Drew. It looks brighter on the camera than it is in person. It's kind of like a soft butter yellow or like a soft gold. So there's that. I got this brown fabric and I think it's silk shantung, which I'm really into. So I just don't know how to tell if it's real silk or if it's polyester, and they did not have it labeled. It was on the more expensive side. I can't remember how much I paid for this, but I think it was like $10 for 1 yard, but it's very pretty. And I might try to do a burn test to see if it's silk, because I used to have to do that in college at FIT to distinguish whether something was a natural fiber or a polyester or man-made fiber. You can burn a small piece of it, see what happens, and then make your, hypothesis on whether or not it's polyester silk shantung or real silk. There's like smells that would differentiate it, or the ways that it burns. If it like hardens into plastic, it's polyester, that sort of thing. I'd have to give myself a refresher on what means what. I also got a couple zippers, one long brown zipper for the dress that I started making, a paisley dress. I showed that in my last vlog. Actually, wait, I got 2 long brown zippers. They're both invisible zippers and they're both quite long. One's a little darker than the other one. And then I also got a long blue invisible zipper just because. I got a string of white beads. I like to use beads in the corners of my little button frames. I got this to take apart. I think it was $5, which in my opinion is kind of expensive. As you see, here's an example. I use a little bead in the 4 corners of these frames. And sometimes I just like to make a beaded frame around the little embroidery pieces. I guess I'll get into the buttons. I did find a lot of buttons at the resource exchange, and I bought all of the ones that I could, basically. I'll start with this bag of large black buttons. They do say the price on them, so this was $9. I kind of think they raised their prices of buttons, probably because I keep buying them out, because I feel like it used to be more like $4. I feel like they're doubled in prices, but it's still a good deal because on eBay, I swear something like that would be like $20. I'm guessing these are nicer quality and that's why they're more expensive also. These are a bit of a grayish black button, also quite large. Oh, I also got this string of beads. I think they're plastic, but I thought they were cool and different. Pretty much the same as the previous one. A large, kind of marbled, neutral button. More black buttons, also large. $10 for this thing. That's why I spent so much money. I also got a bit of elastic, 50 cents, for making scrunchies. A little bag of tan buttons, and these are only 50 cents. Small bag of large white buttons for $4. A large bag of medium-sized white buttons for $8. I really love these brown buttons, $5, plastic. $4 for smaller, kind of marbled, grayish beige buttons. Same situation, just slightly larger, $4. This is my last bag of buttons, and these are navy blue, which is super exciting because I love navy, but $12. That's way more than they had been previously charging. I feel like a lot of the buttons I've been using are like labeled that they were $6, and they were even more buttons than this, but whatever. And then the last two things I got were these patterns. I really can't resist a vintage sewing pattern, especially a little shift dress like this with the collar. This is kind of my kryptonite, where if I see this, I will buy it if it's slightly different than patterns that I already have, which this is different because it has the pockets, it has the seam, it has like some kind of top stitching and interesting button details. So I got this one, and then I really like this as well. It's pretty fun and very stylish, but I love the crop top pattern and sarong and the shorts, but even though it's not summer, I think their patterns are like 50 cents a piece, so I really can't help myself when I see that they have them. And that's everything. This is my haul. This is the pile. I'll get a shot from above. I hope you liked seeing my favorite little local shop, the Resource Exchange. And this is a quick video because I have so much work to do, but I'll be back soon with another video, and I hope you're doing well out there. And that's it. See you later. Bye.